not know how happy I am that he is here in our midst this evening. Certainly, it is a great evening. We just honored my wife, Sister Leola Maddox, and Dick Gregory, 1968, ran for the U.S. presidency, and he had out this publication called Write Me In. Write Me In. And I was down in a place called Coweta County, Georgia, down in Noonan. And, you know, white folks probably have never heard of anybody in Coweta County, Georgia, voting for a black man. And Leola and I, in 1968, said that the only person that we were going to vote for was Dick Gregory. And we went down to the courthouse that day and got our ballots and wrote in the name Dick Gregory in Noonan, Georgia. And he only got 2 votes out of Coweta County. That was me and my wife. But it caused a major stir in Coweta because they wanted to know what 2 Negroes in Coweta County dared to vote for Dick Gregory. And it was the first time that I had an opportunity to vote for a black person. And I loved every bit of it. I loved every bit of it. Don't let them tell you that you threw away a vote by voting for someone like Dick, because we made a powerful statement back in 1968. Made a powerful statement. And when they get the returns and they start seeing how in little places like Coweta that Dick Gregory picked up 2 votes, it has a tremendous impact. And I've always loved the brother from way back. And you know, life is such where people never know the kind of impact that they've had on other people's lives, you know, and what they have done and how they have influenced it over the years. And going back from that time on, whatever Dick said or whatever he wrote or whatever it was, we were always in it. We've always loved him, and this is a great evening here at the Oberia Dempsey Center, Brother Bartee. This is a great evening. I'm glad that you came out to hear some wise words. I was getting a little bit worried about you. I know you call yourself a poet, but you don't know everything. So I have to take time out for people, because I know everybody here is family Dick, and I have to take time sometimes to chastise them, because they don't do me right all the time. Come on down, Bartee. You need to be on the front row. That's right. Come on down. Yeah, you need to be on the front row, my brother. That's right. Get on the front row.
I take my whip.
You need to go to the morning bench. That's right. Sister Iris, glad you brought him. All right, come on down. But we are very pleased to have him. We had an opportunity when we were over at the Masonic Temple, having your son come over on several occasions, and we were very supportive of him during his ordeal. Get this brother back, you know. But Dick is doing. He is really one of the great persons of our time, and we're all blessed to be able to say that we were here with him. I want us one more time to stand on our feet and put our hands together and holler from the top of our lungs. And let's give it up as we introduce our keynote speaker for tonight, Brother Dick Gregory.
praise God, we have all made it here safely today. And I pray to God that your return and my return will be equally as safe. I made it here safely today. And I pray to God that your return and my return will be equally as safe. I very seldom mess up. But I was kind of in a hurry. We had 3 big demonstrations in Washington, D.C. My mom, Jamal Mambu, was on death row. We went to the White House today, and then we went to the Justice Department today. And it's just something wrong with a system that they can keep everybody so ignorant, and yet everybody thinks they're so smart. That shooting that happened in Philadelphia with Jamal. Philadelphia at that time was one of the few cities in the world where a cab driver could carry a gun. So he legitimately had a legal gun. His gun was a .38. The cop was killed with a .44. That shouldn't even be debatable. I mean, we run around asking for a trial. That shouldn't even be debatable. They should have to explain how a .38. Because I tell you one thing. If a cop gunned down a black, and the cop had a .38, and the black was hit with a .44, there wouldn't be no question that the cop didn't do it. And then we left there, went out to the state capitol in Annapolis, Maryland. Police brutality. And then by that time I got behind in my vitamins, and so I was rushing. So I said, well, I'll just take my vitamins after I finish speaking. And so I said, but I think I'll hit a little ginseng real quick and open up my little ginseng and pop that. Not till a few minutes ago did I realize I made a mistake and took my Viagra. To talk quick so I can get on out of here, because when that stuff kick in, y'all talk about we do anything for Brother Dick. We'll see. Brother Dick don't need no money. Everybody take their brother. We'll see when that stuff kick in. Now there are some serious drawbacks with Viagra. Sometimes you can't get through that scanner at the airport. Then they ask all the most stupid questions at the airport. It's been with you all day. Did you pack it yourself? And I don't use that old regular common street stuff. I get mine from the doctor. $10 a shot. Bills me at the house. He called me in California the other day. My wife had sent a check in for $3,010. She said, she must have made a mistake. I said, she didn't make a mistake. She knew it cost $10. That $3,000 was just saying thanks. After I got here this evening, I almost didn't make it because these cab drivers have got so upset here lately. I was right down the corner, just sneezed and raised my hand. 20 cabs said, "Come on, we'll take you." I said, "I don't want a cab. Get on in here, boy." It's amazing what fear do. And fear and God do not occupy the same space. thinking about the Martin Luther King holiday and thinking about a few days of the Black History Month. Progress, God Almighty. I'm 68 years old. I remember when they used to call it Negro History Week. Now it's Black Month. Of course, wouldn't you know when they get ready to give us a month, it'd be that month of February, and all them days missing. I mean, I never expected a 31-dayer, but I was stunned when they laid February on it. But most black folks I know, not only do we not like February, we don't even understand it. February the 2nd, what's a groundhog? February the 2nd, if groundhog season shadows 6 more weeks of winter. Now tell that to somebody living in San Diego. I'm glad February the 2nd I was doing a radio show in Chicago. A white dude said, to Gregory, today's Groundhog Day. What do you think happened if Groundhog sees the shadow? I said, I don't play that groundhog mess. So back up off that. And then the white boy got real hot. You anti-American, anti-social? What's wrong with the groundhog? I didn't know you felt that way about it. If you feel that way about it, ask me again. I'll play it. He said, today's Groundhog Day, boy. What happens today if the groundhog sees his shadow? I said, 6 more weeks of winter, sir. But since we're going to play it, let's keep on playing. Suppose that groundhog came out today and didn't see a shadow, but see 5 black dudes. What does that mean? The boy got nervous and said, I don't know what it means. It means 6 more weeks of basketball, tell me. So the amount of progress we have made is just like last year I was at the Super Bowl. Stevie Wonder and I was doing a project and we hadn't finished it up. Stevie Wonder was the halftime entertainment, so I had to follow him down to the Super Bowl. First time I ever been there, they were going to be serious about the Super Bowl. They dropped $600 million in 4 days. Serious about the Super Bowl. And they stand in line, matter of fact, 4 days, waiting to get in. 4 days before the game, they in line. Oh, in Stevie Wonder's room, looking out with binoculars, it's about 4 days before, it's about 10,000 white folks lined up. I said, Stevie, I wish you could see this. The second day, about 10,000 more showed up. They still got 2 days to go, and they still there. It was in Miami, and they short, you know, and barbecuing, but they just happy, just waiting on the gate to open. And the third day, about 40,000 white folks standing in that line waiting to get in. And then the last day, they opened up the gate at 12:30, and about 11:35, here come a brother. And I said, Stevie, I'm glad you think, I really believe this brother's going to walk to the front of the line. I mean, these white folks been standing in that serious line for 4 days, and the brother, he clean too, got on a suit and, you know, serious shoes. He ain't got none of them Nikes and tennis stuff on. And sure enough, the brother walked to the front of the line, and I just didn't even want them white folks grab him, and 6 burly white boys and threw him out 7 yards back and stomped on him, and the brother got up and just brushed his stuff off and went right back out. I said, what kind of drugs can he do? And 10 of these white boys grabbed him and knocked him down, just stomped on him, and he got up and brushed himself off again, looked at him and said, look, y'all want to get in here, you better be cool. I'm the brother with the key. I'm in charge now. Huh? The game. But you really have to see, if you're going to live in a sick, insane country like this, you got to pay attention. And that's the problem. Some of y'all so busy being mad, so busy rapping, you ain't got time to be quiet. And just pay attention. You can't trick the universal self. I'm not talking about that old mumbo-jumbo stuff that's been manipulated through culture patterns. See it and scared to say anything about it. I don't have no problem with celebrating Dr. King's death day, April the 4th. King was gunned down. So if you want to celebrate that day every year, it's April the 4th. JFK was gunned down in Dallas, November the 22nd. You want to celebrate that day, that's no problem. Been born and raised in the Baptist Christian Church, I had no problem with the crucifixion of Christ. I just couldn't understand how Easter and Good Friday represents the crucifixion of Christ. And one year Easter come in March, and another year come in April. And I just didn't know how you could be killed in 2 different months. And I didn't get into that. Then when I started peeping at the good books and saw that 3,000 years before Christ was born, the pagans were celebrating Christmas and Easter. And I just closed the book up and just left that one alone. But there's a universal God force that you was born with. And it ain't got nothing to do with reading and writing. In fact, I was with some boys in Europe not too long ago. Serious white boys sitting around drinking cognac at $40,000 a shot. And that's cheap cognac, because up on the 16th floor where we was, it started at $100,000 a shot. Serious white boys that know everything major was stolen from us. They know that. See, they have to start out with truth before they can trick it. And they were discussing the fact about 2025, there'll be no such thing as reading and writing. And I didn't have no problem with that, because reading and writing ain't godly, ain't spiritual, ain't universal. How is it I can leave here and go to Tokyo tonight and I don't understand what they saying and can't read what they wrote? That's a game they play. I go to Africa and run across Africa look more like me than me. I don't know what they're saying. So this thing is moving fast. Y2K, don't get rid of your water yet. Matter of fact, if they pull off what they gonna pull off, just water ain't gonna save you. All right. This country spent $200 billion getting ready for January 1st. The bank spent $200 million. Africa ain't spent a quarter. And all this stuff worked on January 1st. So either they know something or voodoo worked. Or maybe they gave us the wrong day. Because right tonight, the Pentagon has a $50 million Y2K war room. So y'all go and play your game. The FBI cannot take no time off till after March. United States military, division after division after division, has been in place. And they'll be there till after March. I had a problem with Y2K because I just didn't believe this white boy could be smart enough to invent a computer 30 years ago and didn't know it wouldn't roll over. So that's why I didn't buy into it. And then when I saw all the tricking that was going down, I said, what do you got planned? And now they made big announcements yesterday that the credit card computers, y'all hear about that? It's been messed up. And so say it's going to start billing you twice. So I call my credit card people and say, well, when will it mess up where I won't get no bill? How y'all gonna tell me y'all got a computer that go out, but it go out in your face? See, it don't take much to think when you get away from that old mumbo jumbo and all the more nasty attitude. You go home, write a letter, take a stamp, and lick it and put it on that letter, and you can send that letter all the way around the world. Hot, cold, and that stamp don't fall off. What did you just put in your mouth? What did you put
put in your mouth that you can send all the way around the world and it won't come out. You walk down the street long enough, your laces are untied. What is on that stamp? And the people that deliver it, they not friendly, they just toss it. And the stamp don't come out. And you just... Somewhere when you just stop and just think about the game. And sometimes you get so wrapped up in the thing. First, there's something got to be wrong with all of us to choose to stay in a filthy, degenerate, ungodly, unspiritual country like this. So then if you're going to stay here, you prepare yourself. If you're going to live up north in the wintertime, you don't get none of them old lightweight pimp outfits. You get some serious growth. Y'all is in the heart of this vicious, insane craziness and just walk around like... You go to white colleges and just... I went to white college, but I know they was doing something. I didn't know what it was. But they knew I knew. Because every time I walk down campus, I take 3 steps and stop. They say, what's wrong? I said, I know y'all doing something that ain't right. You got, and they right in front of your face, they do it. Patty Hearst gets kidnapped. You remember that? She in bed, huh? She goes to the door with her, whatever white women sleep in. And they snatch her out the door. But they can identify her, with robbing the bank in Oakland because she dropped her driver's license. Now, do white women go to bed with their driver's license? Hear me good now. Because if I come to your house and snatch you in your pajamas, then 3 weeks later, your driver's license show up, Oh, you see that old Cuban mess? That little white Cuban boy would have been black. They'd have threw him back in the water where his mama died. Okay. Right back in there. Time magazine last week, 2 weeks ago, picked Man of the Year. White boy, Amazon.com. Did y'all see that? Here. Here's a white boy ain't made a profit since he been in business. $300 million in debt, and he the man of the year? I called Time Magazine and said, y'all just want some pictures, some folks ain't got no money, why don't you go to Chicago to the housing projects and put that whole housing project on the cover? And then they decided that they was going to do the man of the century, of the century. And they had some serious problems with that. Hitler kept winning. Jesus was second. This country y'all choose to live in, if you're going to live here, you better, So then they said, well, let's take Jesus out because he really wasn't here this century. And then Hitler got all his votes. But that shouldn't surprise nobody black, because when they sold OJ's T-shirt, jersey, that white boy took it and burned it on the courthouse steps. And you know he wouldn't have burned Hitler's jacket. If they find Hitler's jacket, they would put it in a museum. And so you better listen to that God-given consciousness. That's the one that won't fail you. And so they picked the man of the century. Huh? Einstein. And man, it's what y'all need to do. Y'all need to make y'all up a real-time copy. You know how you do? And this is the fake one. The real one is put Dr. Martin Luther King picture on it. Why? Because Einstein was talking about theories and all that kind of crap. King was talking about human rights. And Einstein, if he was alive, he would tell you, had he had human rights in Germany, he wouldn't have had to leave there to come over here to make his stuff work. Huh? And we keep saying, well, China, you can't do this, and they don't say Chinese, they can't get in this or get in that because they don't have computers or they don't understand mathematics. They talk about human rights. And nobody has furthered the cause of human rights in the history of this planet than Dr. King and our black movement. But we have to stop waiting on the oppressor to recognize us. So we need to make T-shirts and sell them all the way across the country and pick our person of the century. And just put it right back in their face. That's the power we have. Somewhere when you stop and think about how fast this thing is moving. I said, if you're not ready to move with it, then have fun quick, because recess is just about over. See, the old white boy messed up with the computer because he didn't really have leap year in his psyche. This year is the first time leap year comes on a 00 year since 1600. And there is no computer. They got 29 days for next month. Now, it didn't start off with a trick. He just overlooked that. When that Gregorian calendar was put together by Pope Gregory the 13th, and he said there's more than 365 days to the year. There's 365 plus, so every 4 years, let's add a day. But it has to be divisible by 400. And then that's when you get the leap year. And when they put the computers together, the fact that leap year hasn't fell on a 00 since 1600 and it won't fall again after this year to 2400, they wasn't aware of that. And that's what they worried about. That's what they worried about. And I'm watching, I'm shopping. I went out and spent $30,000 on Neiman Marcus. I'm shopping till I know I'm waiting on it to fail. I'm buying stuff for black folks I don't even like. And another thing you black folks got to stop this. Y'all got to stop getting in debt and being scared. You got the stuff, you should be happy. Y'all run around talking about reparations, you got it. Then you're going to send the money in anyway. Then get your credit, get all messed. I'm so tired of running around black folks want to have good credit. You got good credit, you ain't got no cash. I'm trying to find me some black folks with a lot of cash and bad credit. Oh, silly brother called me the other day all upset. They're about to repossess my car. What must I do? Don't park in front of the house. Car green, painted red. I mean, the biggest problem I had with my wife, Lily, when I first got married, she couldn't handle debt. Up in the house one day, what are we going to do about Sears and Roebuck? I said, you act like we got some money. We don't have no money. And when I get some money, Sears and Roebuck is not my first priority. I told her Sears knew I wasn't going to pay for this stuff when I got it. They're on the back of the application, said, who's going to pay for this? I wrote your mama. In the house 2 weeks later, I thought my wife would have a nervous breakdown. She's screaming and hollering and waving this letter. They did it, they did it. I said, baby, what's wrong? They did it, they did it. She just wrote the final notice. I looked at final notice. Thank God we won't be hearing from them no more. Yesterday, I was doing this television show. His wife said, well, you know, Art Rocker, the baseball player that made all them old stupid statements, and now they said he needs to see a psychiatrist. Gas me, what about? I said, no, I'm the one who needs to see the psychiatrist. After reading what he said, I'm the one got a problem, not him. The games, the games, the games, the games. Somewhere. And I just thank this organization and what you all are doing in the United African to live in this city here. And y'all really double-cross black folks all over the world. But y'all got people outside here thinking New York, if you just get to New York, you got it made. You get to New York, you get shot. Thank God for Sharpton and all that. And you know, I'm not looking at Madison and his wife up here, and I just say, do you know this brother, with his intelligence, could be somewhere behaving himself and living good and going through all the changes and wouldn't have to be up at 3 o'clock in the morning, taking care of somebody's hotel bill and all of that. But thank God that God picks people every now and then to say, and every time these white folks in this town get ready to do something wrong, they got to say, what's O'Malley and Sharpton going to do? And as bad as the cops are here, if it wasn't for movements like this here, they'd be worse. They'd be worse. And don't think you can behave yourself out of a whooping. You can educate yourself out of a whooping. PhD, y'all look in the mirror and see your children intelligent, speaking French and all that. They see nigger when they see you. And I had it happen in my family as a good example. My baby son, I tell people all over the world, there's 30 brilliant minds on the planet, he's between 1 and 3. And we don't have to be validated by Harvard or Yale or MIT. He went to Phillips Academy High School. We paid $25,000 a year for him to go to high school at a time when Harvard was just charging $19,000. At high school he went to, at the time he was there, had produced 12 presidents. Since then, Bush become 13 presidents now. At one time, 85% of the people that controlled the Fortune 500 went to that high school my baby went to. All right. He leaves there and go to Howard University, have one of the highest grade points in the history of School of Finance. He graduates on Saturday. One of my daughters graduated from Georgetown Law School on Sunday. They told me and my wife, they said, in 35 years of my husband and I running this, we've never seen a legal mind like your daughter. 6 months later, neither one of them had a job. Y'all go and play your games if you want to. Y'all go on and believe you can educate this thing away. Y'all go on and believe you can smile it away. You can behave it away. And so like Maddie said, you know, black folk love me, so I made a phone call here and collected some IOUs to win the folks. Would you please get these 2 punks out of my house? See, anybody can get 10 children out of college. I got them out the house. You got to be a genius to do that. My daughter come here and take that New York bar exam and walked away with 7 hours of respect. My son wanted to go get his MBA. To go to the good schools, you have to work for 2 years. I said, well, no, just put him with this.
Put him in the financial section of the #1 money city in the world. Let's put him over there getting coffee. That ain't going to show up on this transcript. After being there a little while, they recognized his intelligence. And one day I'm sitting in Paris looking at the Riddick Bowe-Gulata fight. They broke up to a ride in Madison Square Garden. And I'm laughing, telling my wife, baby, I wish you had HBO. You can't believe, ain't no police around, ain't nobody out here. I mean, they got a full-scale ride going on. And all at once I see this chunk of these dreadlocks and 20 cops whooping him, and I didn't realize till they turned around that was my son. $25,000 a year to go to high school, one of the most brilliant minds on the planet, and all them cops saw was nigger. He ain't combed his hair. 17 years, they thought he was Jamaican. They told him in the squad car on the way to jail, nigger, if you was in the Bronx, we put a bullet in your head. They didn't know they just worked the financial analyst for the city of New York. Where he worked, they can't tell white folks how to spend $34 billion, but they can't touch it till they analyze. They got to analyze the police's budget. My wife kind of panicked. She said, what we gonna do? What we gonna do? I'm in Paris. Well, you got to come back. They'll kill him in jail. They do kill black folks in jail, but we can't walk around selling book tickets, talk about standing up to this system, and the first time it comes down on you, you want to run and jump out. They do kill black folks in jail. But I said, you know, your daughter, she's prosecutor in Brooklyn. Why don't you call her as a confidant? Have her go over there and snoop around and see what they're doing. So she go over there, that's when we find out 2 of my sons got arrested. Now, we got one son. If you don't ask about him, we do not volunteer. No, y'all know what I'm talking about, don't you? I got one boy, whatever the police say he did, he did. He asked me one day, hey, Pop, what's probable cause? I said, look in the mirror. Charges trumped up against him. I had the guy told me who was president of the city council, Italian guy, been there for a long time. I think he ran for governor. Ex-cop. Told me I never thought I'd see the day I'd be on the other side of the men in blue. But said, that son of yours, ain't no way in the world he could have done. Not the one I know, the things they said he done. And then all at once, they start finding out where they've messed up. And then all at once, this organization that stood by my 2 boys every time they went to court. This organization. Every time they And they won the case. They won the case. Very seldom you win a case against police. And stand up. He's right here. Johan. I just want to personally say to Brother Maddox and this organization, I thank you. It's a heck of a thing when you're out there marching for other people. It's a hell of a thing, boy, when it comes in your house. One thing I like about this white boy, I mean, he's so cold and he just don't feel no pain. I mean, he does. Frankenstein just thought the girl didn't want to go to prom because she didn't have an outfit. It didn't dawn on him that he was ugly. Somewhere when you look to see where this thing is going and how fast it's moving and how vicious it is, here's a story that broke. I read about $600 worth of newspapers, magazines every week. This story only ran in one newspaper in the whole country. New York Daily News. Serious story. It's about one of the most celebrated psychics that ever lived, Gene Dixon.
And I remember reading an article 30 years ago that somebody just sitting around didn't have nothing to do and got to checking out her predictions. And they said that every prediction she made that was pertaining to nature, earthquakes, tornadoes, bad winters, she was wrong 99% of the time. Said every prediction she made that could be carried out by people, she was right 100% of the time. And then the story broke. Psychic was on FBI's payroll. And it goes on to say that her job for Hoover was to dirty up the black movement and the anti-war movement. And 18 months before Kennedy was assassinated, she had in her column, "President must be careful in Dallas." You damn right, because the people going to kill him gave you the information. Then when he gets hit, they go back and say, "Oh, Gene Dixon predicted that." That's how vicious this country is. They got people running around believing the spirit done touched her. Folks go all over the world blessing folks and talking about poverty and what we got to do. He ain't never talked about priests ripping off them little boys' booties. And that's when I realized prayers work. I don't know what them priests be doing when they be ripping them little boys off, but I know they got to be praying. I listen to God, I know what I'm doing is not right, because this is a child. But I'm not going to ask you to forgive me, or don't let me get caught. Just fix it so they won't remember it for a long time. And it worked. He'll be 90 years old, walking down the street with his wife and start hollering, "Ah! What's wrong? Found old Valley ripped me off. When? In 1904. She's the one that predicted that King got to be careful going in to Memphis. And now we know why. But hear me good now. Because when you read this stuff, you think some divine order from God or Christ or something told her something. Old hoe. Queen Elizabeth ain't nothing but an old hoe. You know, it's amazing how white folk can wrap up. You know, it's hard for you to sit there and visualize Queen Elizabeth somewhere sitting in the toilet with her drawers drooped over her knees, farting and sticking up that toilet just like you. There is no such thing as a queen's doo-doo. It's all the same. And she might be burning some good incense. The games. Huh? How long? Under the Freedom of Information Act, they had to admit. Hell of an article in the Memphis Commercial Appeal, March 21st, 1993. Army feared King, secretly watched him. Spying on blacks started 75 years ago. This is the headline. Huh? And they go on to talk about they started watching King when he was in high school. Huh? So don't think they just killed him because he just started bugging some white folks. Huh? They started watching him when he was in high school. The Army, the United States military. So y'all just sit around, just act like y'all relax and business that you do. No. This boy's somewhere now plotting. How can we do it? Somewhere. You got to listen. You have to listen to it. Brother Bill Cosby gave $20 million to Spelman. Didn't promise he gave it to him. Nobody ever gave that kind of money. 3 days later, big headlines, the white boy on TV died. He gives $50 million to United Negro Congress. He didn't. He pledged $50 million if they raise $50 million. Well, that's like not giving up. Nothing. And even when they like you, the big ones, you got to be careful. Oh, you couldn't be loved in this country by white folk no more than Bill Cosby. I mean, anytime they let you advertise tapioca, I mean, that's that white boy pudding. But y'all got to be careful. Because sometimes you think you see in one thing, you see something else. They gave Bill Cosby a great show. He was a doctor, wife was a lawyer. 98% of white folks in America before the Bill Cosby show had never seen a black doctor. The most trifling black, ghetto, thug, dropout. We got black doctors in our family. 98% of white folks in America before the Bill Cosby show had never seen a black lawyer. So all it was, they see a black doctor and a black lawyer. A black doctor that never goes to the clinic, never deals with a patient, never deals with the sick. A black lawyer that never has a crime or deal with a case or deal with justice, just sitting around the living room whooping with the children. That's not what black life is about. When white boys put on a dress, they call him a cross-dresser or a transvestite. When they call RuPaul a beautiful black woman, sisters, they say they fixing to kill you. And any of you black women can look at that thing on television and think he's a beautiful black woman. God is telling you, you really got to like him. And they take him and refer to him, got him selling makeup and stuff for black women, and if any of y'all stupid enough to buy it, you need to go home and flush that stuff down the television. And then Bill Cosby made one mistake. He said, I want to buy NBC. The boy ain't had no peace sense. The boy ain't had no peace sense. Because he could buy it. NBC, owned by General Electric. CBS, owned by Westinghouse. Them two companies alone make 87% of all the weapons on this planet that kill people is made out of them two companies. And they won't give us the news. And you know when his son was killed, they told us it wasn't robbery. They found $6,000 cash and credit cards and cell phone. Then they went and arrested that Russian boy. 9 months later, said it was robbery. And we checked it out. The Russian boy was in Mexico that night. He wasn't even here. So even the lawyer they seen in was a trick. That's the games they play. In some kind of way, we got to understand that. Look at TV. Look at it for entertainment. Look at the news for entertainment. 98% of stuff they're saying, you don't even have to be smart, y'all lie. Say the O.J. trial, the trial of the century. And nobody said, well, wait a minute. What about the Nuremberg trial? What about Brown versus Topeka, Kansas? And if there was going to be a trial of the century pertaining to blacks, it looked like we would say, we'll pick it. Not you all. If we have had to have the trial of the century in the last 10 years, it wasn't in California with O.J., it was right here in New York. In Long Island, the dude that shot them people on, they said shot the people on the train. Colin Ferguson. He's your hero. One day when y'all find out the boy was under mind control and he ain't done none of that, you find you better be careful how you pick your hero. If he shot him, I shot him. That's what mind control is about. That's why I tell y'all better stop being so busy trying to sell some whoop tickets of this racist thing and don't think what you're looking at. He shot at everybody on the plane, and then when they grabbed him, he says, oh my God, what have I done? Something wrong with that statement. Something wrong when they tell me the brother had this pregnant woman killed, the basketball player. I don't have no problem with that. But when they caught him in the trunk of the car, this brother is clean-shaven head. He had a stocking cap on. Slick-head brothers don't wear stocking caps. So y'all better stop being so old, super nigger hip and slick, trying to react to a white racist system instead of the God force inside. That one can't be tricked. Most of you ain't fit to think you're too tired. Working 3-4 jobs and ain't got nothing. Somewhere when you understand. That brother, what was his name, Ferguson? Tom Ferguson. Now, that was a problem. That boy defended himself. Now, you talking about a dream team. I mean, that boy walked out there like he was two people. Did y'all see? He said, Judge Your Honor, my client, Mr. Ferguson, they not feed him enough food at night in jail. And the judge was cool. Judge said, we'll take care of that. One thing about white folks in America, when they love you, they love you. His opening argument was fabulous. He said to the jury, he says, I'm not denying that my client, Mr. Ferguson, was not on that train. I'm not denying he didn't have a gun. The gun that those folks were shot and killed with, my client, Mr. Ferguson, had it in his bag. What you all don't understand, he went to sleep. While he was asleep, a white dude took that gun, shot them people, put it back in the bag. And that's what I said in America, when white folks love it, they love it. I mean, the press haven't said yet, if you were asleep, how do you know it was a white boy? And boy, when he was cross-examining this one white girl who had been shot 6 times, I'll never forget that. He says, Miss, are you going to sit there on that witness stand and tell me my client, Mr. Ferguson, shot you 6 times? That white woman went off. He said, I'm saying you shot me 6 times. He said, now you're saying it was 2 people, huh? Somewhere. Have to sit by yourself and just ask yourself this simple question: what is black on black crime? I don't understand why y'all upset at black on black crime. If we all went to China tonight, who do you think killing Chinese in China? And if we went to Italy in the morning, who do you think killing Italians in Italy? And if 98% of the white folks in America that was murdered last year was murdered by white folks, if they're not talking about white on white crime, why are you talking about black on black crime? You kill where you live. And if you don't want black folks killing black folks, then join the NAACP, the Urban League, that's it. And all of us and integrate this country. And I guarantee you, if I'm living way over here in this white suburban neighborhood, my old lady make me mad enough to want to shoot somebody, I'm not going to jump in my car and drive all the way back to the ghetto and shoot you. I'm going next door and shoot my white neighbor. But understand this system now. Jesse Jackson, he can go all over the world and bring hostages home, and he's just a nice guy. He go down there in Illinois and get to dealing with some black folks up. He's doing it for publicity. And Jesse was really lucky on them hostages from Bosnia, because they called them white folks, but they didn't understand. Well, you know, Jesse can talk a little funny sometimes. Jesse called them white folks in Bosnia and said, I'd like to come and get the hostages. They thought he said he'd like to come get some sausages. They didn't know that boy was talking about hostages until he got over there. He said, well, okay, but take them both, the hostages and the sausages.
On April the 4th, 1968, a good man was killed in Memphis by a wicked, evil, nasty, insane government. But if this planet lasts 10 billion years, the only reason America will be mentioned will be because of Dr. King and that movement. That's the only way America will ever be a footnote, will ever get her name mentioned. I was at the trial in Memphis. I want to show you all quickly, explain to you why that jury of 6 blacks and 6 whites after 3 hours came back and found that white boy guilty of conspiring to kill Dr. Martin Luther King. And they went further than that. They also said there was some co-conspirators, black folks, unnamed, that was involved. I want to show you a little 3-minute clip of the minister that Dr. King was going by his house for dinner. He was due at 7, but they had to move it up because 7 would be a little too dark to shoot somebody. So they moved it to 6 o'clock. 2 years ago at a press conference in Memphis, I get a call. And they said, so-and-so is thinking about killing so-and-so, so-and-so. I said, what? I said, well, he said something at a press conference. I said, put him on the phone. I said, whatever you do, get that film. Because once NBC realized what this brother had slipped and said, we will never get our hands on the film. What you're fixing to see now went into the evidence in the King trial where they brought a wrongful death suit, and I'll explain that to you quickly in a minute. But what you're fixing to witness now is the man who came by to get King to take him to dinner. And 30 years later at a press conference, he slipped because God do baffle your mind sometimes. You look.
Some of the activities are geared especially for the young who did not have a chance to get the feel or to know what the civil rights movement actually was about. Even as they marched, now they could have stopped in a hotel, but when you think about marching from Memphis to Jackson or Jackson to Memphis, there were no hotels. You stayed in churches, you stayed in people's homes, and that's how we got over, that's how we got through. The struggle was a spiritual struggle. You couldn't pay people to do what we had to do. You couldn't pay people to stand before mad dogs and fire hoses and billy clubs and cattle prods. It was strictly a spiritual and moral movement. So we wanted that dimension to be in the pilgrimage to Memphis. We will revisit the mountaintop speech site. That's the Mason's Temple, where Dr. King made his last address, which he almost didn't make, because the night that we were having that rally, there were tornado warnings, and he was behind on the Poor People's Campaign. And he said, you guys go on over and have the rally. I'm going to stay at the motel and work on the Poor People's Campaign. When we got there and Dr. Abernathy walked in and Jesse Jackson walked in and I walked in and others, people started clapping because they thought Martin was behind us. And so Ralph's preacher said to him, this is not our crowd. And he went to the phone and called Dr. King and said, any of the marches that we had in those days, you have an opportunity to bring the children and bring the family and march with us. And when I finished sharing with them the last hour of Dr. King's life, a hurry. But that gave me the wonderful privilege of spending the last hour on earth. 3 preachers in a room Abernathy, King, and Kyle. And we spent that last hour together in room 306 at the Lorraine Motel. The press is always curious, and writers, what went on? What did you talk about? I say, we just talk preacher talk. What preachers talk about when they get together.
Y'all pay real attention to what you're fixing to hear now.
About 5:45, we walked on the balcony, and he was talking to people in the courtyard. He stood here and I stood there. Only as I moved away so we could have a clear shot, the shot rang out.
Thank you.
I turned around and there's nothing back on the balcony.
Listen. Oh. Wait, listen. Listen. 30 years later, this brother never realized he would slip and say that. Do you know what happened when you're sitting in a jury room about a conspiracy and this piece of film is introduced? He stood here, I stood here, only as I moved away so he could have a clear shot. The shot rang out. Okay. This was the brother that he was going by his house for dinner. Now, to my brother Matty, you will have a copy of this tape. I'll get it back to you. And what you should do is make copies. See to it, because this is a very valuable. And y'all need to send this tape to people all over this country. And so this was the trial that went on that the press didn't want to report because they couldn't. Huh? They couldn't. And so we have to stop getting mad and upset because the same system that's killing us refuse to tell us the truth. You have to use your own God-given intelligence. If we was all over in Germany today walking down the street and we see this big old building and it's named after Adolf Hitler, you don't have to be too smart to realize something evil is going on inside that building. Well, how come you don't understand that when you walk down in Washington, D.C. and see that big old brand new FBI building named after J. Edgar Hoover? How come we don't know something evil is going on inside that building? Let me briefly tell you some of the things that you overheard. The trial should have lasted a day and a half. It lasted 30 days. The black press in Memphis didn't even show up. Let me tell you how this trial came about. About 6 years ago, a white man named Lloyd Jowers, who probably, now this is just my philosophy, who probably was told they're fixing to blame the King murders on you. So he went to ABC, and they did a whole session with him, telling them how he was involved and what the conspiracy and who it was. And then they never ran it. And so now he's running for his life. So he goes to the King family, and he tells them the same thing that he told ABC. He tells them 3 times, and the 4th time, Andy Young. And they filmed it, they taped it. And he said, I was given $100,000 by Frank Liberto, who was the mafia puppet who ran Memphis for the big mafia boys out of New Orleans. So it was Frank Liberto, he said, that gave him $100,000 to set up the whole mechanism for killing King. In the building right behind the Lorraine Hotel with the courtyard bumped into, Lord Jarvis had a restaurant called Jim's Grill. He also said that at the first meeting, here's who was there. So-and-so was there, so-and-so was there. And let me tell you, there was some black folks there too. The black man in the very famous picture that was leaning over Martin Luther King, Merle McClellan, he was there at the first meeting. We didn't know at the time his job was to do two things. One was to point everybody in the wrong direction. It was him that pointed and said the shots came from there. Not only was he an undercover cop, he was so undercover that his paycheck didn't even come from the Memphis Police Department, came from the utility company. And now tonight, as we sit here, he's a CIA agent. His other job was to infiltrate a little group of little juvenile thugs. They call themselves the Invaders. And y'all got to be careful about what y'all join just because they're yelling and screaming about whitey. Y'all got to be careful about what kind of evil, nasty black folk you get around that want to go blow up something and then wonder why you get arrested on your way there. Martin Luther King was preparing for the Poor People's March in Washington, D.C. Yet many senators and many Congress people said, we don't think he should come here because we are afraid of the amount of violence that will be created. Martin Luther King's answer to that was, I've led demonstrations, there's been violence, but it wasn't on our side. It was people attacking us. Now, if I'm going to be blamed for that, then there's something wrong. And so they decided that they would create a violent situation. And Merle McClellan, the undercover Memphis cop, had also infiltrated the Invaders, and it was when King came in for one day to lead that march. One day. To lead that march. One day. And it was their job to see to it that it broke into a ride so King could no longer say that I've never led a march that led to a ride. And that was to force him to come back for a second march so they could kill him. And so, all at once, the King family decides to sue Lord Jarvis on a wrongful death suit. Not that they wanted any money, so the first time the truth could be validated and documented. So there's a lot of people upset about the Truth and Reconciliation Committee in South Africa, but 100 years from now, because of that, 100 years from now, nobody has to say, let me tell you what those black folks say they did to them. They can't say that now because white folks came and testified under oath that this is what we did. Because of this trial, no longer will anybody be able to say these conspirators allege this to have happened. It's documented under oath. They subpoenaed the captain who was over the fire station, which was across the street, firehouse number 2 from the Lorraine Hotel. 34 years later, he's 34 years older, 7 years old, fat, getting ready to die, wanting to find Jesus. So he came and raised his hand and told the truth. Would you give your name? Yes. How old are you? What's your occupation? I'm retired. What was it before you retired? The Memphis Farm. What was your top rank?
battalion commander. Where were you on April the 4th, 1968, when Martin Luther King was shot? Said, I was in charge of the fire station across the street from the Lorraine Hotel. Did you notice anything different that day? Yeah, early that morning, some people came and introduced themselves as Army intelligence. Said they'd like to go up on the roof and put King under surveillance. What'd you do? I led them up to the roof. What did they have with them? They had large containers, small containers. What do you think was in the containers? I don't know. What do you think? Well, it could have been stuff to take motion pictures, still pictures. Could the containers held hot paparazzi? Yes, they could have. And then what happened? Well, later that day when the shot rang out, they were still on the roof. So we know that the United States government not only had pictures of Martin Luther King being killed, they also had pictures of the person that did it. He said, but then what happened? He said, then I rushed across the street and ran up the steps where King was laying on the ground, and I helped put him on the stretcher. He said, did you get to see the wound? Say, yes. Would you describe it to the jury? Say, the wound was going up, which means he had been shot from down here, not up there. He's a white man who ran the fire station, who probably 30-some years ago couldn't care if King lived or died. He's a white man sitting there saying to 6 blacks and 6 white jury that, yes, I saw the wound and the wound went this way. And the next one that testified that he had interviewed people from military intelligence, the 111, the 209. The 209 is so vicious, they were scared of CIA. And the 184, that's the sniper team, that's the Rangers. When they had to admit they was there, they say, well, we was there as a backup, and that leads you to believe they were talking about to back up in case the security broke down. They was there to back up in case that hit didn't get, they were supposed to take him out. That's what the jury heard. Lord Jawa's defense was real hip. There was so much overwhelming evidence that there was a conspiracy. His defense was, yes, I was part of a conspiracy. I just didn't know the person that I was supposed to have killed was Martin Luther King. And what made that so beautiful, it meant that they couldn't object to none of the stuff that was going because they wanted everybody to know what we knew, that it was a conspiracy. He just didn't know it was Dr. King. 70 witnesses they got to hear, plus to see that film. They got to listen to Earl Clark's wife. Who was Earl Clark? Well, when the shot rang out, the dude who shot took the rifle and gave it to Lord Jawas, and he took it through the back of his restaurant window, and then he jumped over a concrete embankment, and there was a black cab driver called Butler, cab 58. He heard the shot. He didn't know King had been hit. He got out the cab to see what happened, see this white man jumping over this concrete embankment, so he followed him around the corner and watched him get into a police cruiser. That man who shot King was Earl Clark, Memphis cop. Dead now. But they subpoenaed his wife. She came to defend the good name of Earl. My husband couldn't have done that because he was homesick all that day. At what time did he find out Dr. King had been shot? Well, he found out over his police radio. And then what happened? He realized how serious it was that he had to go in. And then what happened? Well, all of his uniforms was in the cleaners. So I had to go get his uniforms out. Miss Clark, you aware what time Dr. King was shot? Oh, I think it was a little bit after 6 o'clock. Miss Clark, are you aware that the cleaners close at 5? That's what the jury heard. Huh? That's what the jury heard. There's an FBI agent by the name of Donald Wilson. He's the one that found the Mustang that Lee Harvey Oswald was driving. He found it in Atlanta, and he found some notes in it that he said the minute he read the notes, he knew it was a conspiracy, but he called one of the numbers, this is 1968, that was on the number, and it ended up going to a nightclub in Dallas that Jack Ruby used to own, and Jack Ruby is the one who killed Lee Harvey Oswald, who was arrested for killing Kennedy. He said he got so scared he never turned it in because he thought if he turned it in and they know he'd look at that, they would kill him. This is the FBI. And this is who we have to deal with every day. Those of us out here in the movement have to deal with folks who are a white FBI agent said, I didn't turn the stuff in because had I turned it in, they probably would have killed me. That's some of the things they heard at the trial. Just to set the record straight, James L. Ray never confessed to killing King. He pleaded guilty. There's a difference. If a cop grabbed me and say, I'll kill all your granddaughters if you don't say you took that purse, plead guilty. A confession means you have to know some of the intricate details that nobody else knows but the police who was there investigating it and the person that did it. He never confessed. This document went into the records. He had probably one of the best defense attorneys that had ever lived in the history of the planet at the time. His defense attorney was called Percy Foreman from Houston. Lawyers used to come in from all over the world and just go to this bar where he used to hang out and just sit and listen to Percy talk. He was James L. Ray's lawyer. James L. Ray was coming up to be sentenced on March the 10th. Here's the letter that Percy Foreman, James L. Ray's lawyer, sent him on March the 9th, 1969. Percy Foreman, Houston, Texas, March the 9th, 1969. Mr. James Earl Ray, Shelby County Jail, Memphis, Tennessee. Dear James Earl, you've asked that I advance to your brother Ray, Jerry Ray, $500 of the $5,000 referred to in the first $5,000 paid by William Bradford Huey on January the 29th. Mr. Huey advanced an additional $5,000. At that time, I had spent in excess of $9,500 on your case. Since then, I have spent in excess of $4,000 additional. But I am willing to advance Jerry $500 and add that to the $165,000 mentioned in my other letter to you today. In other words, I would receive the first $165,500, but I would make the advance to your brother of $500. And this advance also is contingent upon your plea of guilty at the sentencing tomorrow on March the 10th without any unseemly conduct on your part in the courtroom. Here's a man's lawyer that told him, your father 30 years ago jumped bail. We're fixing to put him in jail. If you don't plead guilty, I, your lawyer, personally will see to it you get the lecture chair. And all the way, we're trying to explain how y'all got all this money. So the government is going to say that your brother and you robbed banks. So he's going to jail. if you don't go in and plead guilty tomorrow. The jury got this letter from his lawyer, promising him $165,000, but it was contingent on him pleading guilty. Thank God to the King family. Thank God to William Pepper that handled that case. Thank God to everybody out here and the many people that died. His brother was murdered. They said he drowned in the swimming pool. Dr. King's brother, because he was questioning King's death. A.D. They tried to kill Coretta in the church and missed her and killed Dr. King's mother and made like it was some little crazy lunatic guy that came down. And yet the King family kept on moving. Never born with millions of dollars. Never had the glamour that the Kennedy family had, and yet the Kennedy family haven't spent one nickel trying to find out what had happened to the Kennedys, including that funny little thing that went down with John last summer.
Thank you.
And so I say to you tonight, make no doubt about it, we are in one of the most evil, nasty, vicious, insane, ungodly, unethical systems that's ever existed in the history of the planet. And not only will they kill black folks, they'll kill white folks that look like they're going to show us in a certain light. How many of y'all in here saw the movie The Green Mile? Thank you. How many of y'all didn't like it? I'll go back and see it again. I've seen it 13 times. And when you go back and really see what that movie's about, then you realize why Stephen King was hit with that truck. And then you realize why 2 months ago Stephen King had a press conference and said he'll never write again. And then you realize last Friday, this guy that got all kinds of bad records of driving went into court, one of the most powerful writers that ever lived, and got set free. And I'm going to say to you again, those of y'all that didn't like the movie, you should say a prayer that your mind will be open to see what you really saw. And those of you that haven't seen it, every day that goes by without you seeing it, you do the 70 trillion cells in your body a disservice.
What's the name of the movie?
The Green Mile. Who saw it? You remember what the black man's name was? John Coffey. And those initials is J what? Go back and see the movie. And then read the New Testament, because that movie is the story of Jesus Christ. They just took a mentally retarded nigger and made him Jesus, and most of y'all didn't even see that, because y'all would expect a Ron Brown type nigger to be made Jesus. Huh? Huh? That white woman laying in the bed, that was Mary Magdalene. Y'all go back and see it. Those of you who didn't understand. Jesus Christ wasn't healing. He was pulling demons out of people, and he cast them into pigs, and the pigs went crazy. In that movie, he pulled them demons out and cast it into that pig cough, and he went crazy. Y'all go back and see that movie again. In the Bible, when Jesus was then put on the cross, he was hung between two thieves. That was the two guys that got executed ahead of him. Yeah. And the one thief said, when you go to heaven, will you remember me? That was the Indian brother that said to Tom Hanks, if I repent now, will I be good? Y'all need to go back and y'all need to start breaking code. But y'all can go, y'all like Matrix. Everything I see, like Matrix. Because they showed a black woman and a black man that had the finest mind in the history of the planet. But the white boy was the savior. Huh? I ain't met a black person that didn't like that. How can you like that filth? And here a white man
sit and took a mentally retarded nigger and made him Jesus Christ. And because of that, they tried to kill him. And when he said, I leave here and I join my Father in heaven. That's what the Fred Astaire piece was about. I'm in heaven, I'm in heaven, na, 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 na. And Tom Hanks played two roles. He was Pontius Pilate when he said, I can open up the door and let you out. And he was Judas. Huh? Y'all need to go back and see that. Hollywood have never, ever in the history of Hollywood ever casted a black person with that type of dignity and that type. You ever think you would go to a movie in America where the white woman was doing the cussing and the brother would be Jesus? He said, y'all, his wife hadn't cussed. He told him, he said, y'all came on a good day. And remember, that white woman's the only one that called him Mister. My name is John Coffey, and every time he says that, he says, like the drink. That was the lady that Jesus met at the well and told her that was the wrong water. I'm the water of life. Drink me, you have everlasting life. And this white boy was so hip, he didn't only make the water, he made it black to represent your melanin. And y'all went there and missed that, thinking you're so hip. Go back and see it again. And then that scene where he put his mouth on that white woman's mouth. Next time you see that, make like that's your mouth. And make like anything in your body that shouldn't be there is being pulled out. And I guarantee you, when you leave there, you'll feel different. And then sit and relax and then enjoy yourself, and you find out that's more than a movie. And when you saw them white boys crying at the end, that wasn't Hollywood tears. When he nudged him and said, wipe your face before you straighten up. And so I say to you tonight, we got a big job, but our job is made easy. Because all of those who have died ahead of us, and they haven't stopped anything. Huh? When I think about this movement here, when I think about what you all do here, when I think about how safe I am coming to New York now because y'all are on the scene. Huh? Huh? And then I think of the price you have to pay to be the agitator. What a hell of a price. And you even pay a bigger price if you're sick enough to have to be validated by the New York Times. But ain't a comic on this planet that they should talk about like me. I changed the whole thing. But I don't need their validation. I changed the whole thing. The whole thing. The whole thing. Before me, they would not permit a black entertainer to stand flat-footed and talk. If you go back and listen to the Mills Brothers and the Ink Spots and Nat Cole, those that had a white audience, no black man back then was permitted to sing a song that suggested love. That's why they were singing Route 66 and Mona Lisa and Pennies from Heaven and all that old nature boy stuff. Joe Louis was never permitted to knock a white man out and then raise his hands like that. And all of that have happened. My brother Mattis, you suffered a lot, but my daughter, who's a lawyer in New York, you made it easy for her. Yeah. You made it easy for her. Y'all got a little upset when they moved the trial to Albany. I'd be shocked when y'all expect white folks not to act like white folks. I mean, some of y'all have none of that attitude. I want y'all to listen to this date. It says urgent, 1:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, November the 17th, 1963. That's 5 days before what? To all special agents in charge of the various offices of the FBI. This is a telex from J. Edgar Hoover that we were able to get under the Freedom of Information Act. Urgent, 1:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, November the 17th, 1963, to all special agents in charge of the various offices of the FBI. It says, from the director, and here's what it says. Threat to assassinate President Kennedy in Dallas, Texas, November the 22nd-23rd, 1963, miscellaneous information. That means don't be in the office that day. 5 days before Kennedy was shot, Hoover sent this telex out and called it miscellaneous information. They've been doing this for so long. And then they take their little trick magazines. This Time magazine ran the picture of Caliban. These are the boys in the cafeteria rehearsing. That's a lie. Those of you all that got too much sense to work. That's why I said I'd never get a job. A gorilla, Ron Ostrich, and the elephant eat more food. One day I eat 6 months. They ain't never had a job. I said, Lord, you can take care of them. I know you can take care of me. Those of you that sit home when this story broke, you remember the CNN, if you was watching it, showed a dead white girl in front of that school and showed them handcuffing 3 white boys, putting them in the car. And after about 2 hours, they snatched that and act like that never happened. The Attorney General of the state said there's been rumors that there was more than 2 shooters. I will investigate that. She was the only black Attorney General of any state in America. 2 weeks after she said that, she was dead. The reason I take the time to show you this, because they are convincing you. What they don't tell you is this was a video class. They had enrolled in a video class. Can you imagine sending a child of yours to school and they think they're in a video class and this government is setting them up? And then they have all of these tapes. They were sitting in a video class and this was a mock thing that they were supposed to have been doing. They were sitting reading the script saying, we're going to buy the gun from so-and-so, and that poor little boy that they claim sold the gun to, he ain't sold no gun, but they got a videotape where they saying they sold it, so they went in and make a deal, said, we'll give you 6 years, or else you're going to collect your check. That's how they do it. And then they cover it up because they control the press. Yeah. Is it anyone in this room that's aware of the fact that in the last 2.5 years, teenage homicide in America have decreased 48%, and in the black and Latino community, 72% decrease? But that's not what you feel, because NBC and ABC and the New York Times keep shooting at other stuff. Why do you want to look to something filthy that hates you to get your information? Can you imagine where Jews would be today if they was trying to run some Nazis down to find out what time it is? Can you imagine how long it would have took the Jews to get that money they fixed to get out the Swiss bank had they had to depend on Swiss newspapers? Can you imagine how long it would have took the Jews to get that money they fixed to get out the Swiss bank had they had to depend on Swiss newspapers? Oh, what are we going to do about our children? Every 4 seconds you've been in this room and around the clock, a woman in America gets beat up by her boyfriend or husband, and that's not our children that's beating them. Right. That's right. All these divorces, that's not our children. You know, you're really stupid enough to believe that a 5-year-old child of yours can reach in the refrigerator trying to find the mayonnaise and got to reach past Papa's beer and Mommy's wine, and you qualify to tell them they can't smoke a reefer one day.
That's right.
67% of all the hard drugs on this planet, 67% is consumed in America, and we're just 6% of the world's population. But what a hell of a price you have to pay for racism, and a hell of a price you have to pay to tolerate it. What God, that's a God, would ever validate you reducing yourself down below the dignity that God put in you just so you can pay your rent and your household, send your children's college? God will destroy you from the inside. Death is better. And somewhere, even when we catch them, then they're going to step in and write the apology from their point of view. They said something real nasty about you in the New York Times, and you wrote a letter to the editor, and they published it. People would say, well, they're nice, they didn't have to publish it. One of the most awesome things that ever happened in the history of this planet is the 600 black men in Tuskegee. Because those wasn't Klansmen or white citizen council, that was the United States Government Bureau of Health and medical doctors that said, we're going to give you a shot so you won't catch the cold this winter, and they injected syphilis in them. And even after they got caught, even the president brought the men this last year to Washington to apologize, and not one black or one white has ever made them account for the black women that had to get syphilis. Because if you get 600 black men syphilis, what about their wives and their girlfriends? And it's like, you don't even count. And we black folks haven't even demanded that they give an apology to my woman. If you give me syphilis, I got it. If I give it to my woman, every baby that comes through that chute got syphilis. Do you know what they did to my woman down there? And all the books you read, not once is she mentioned. We got to stop after we catch them, let them write the protocol. The strongest two forces in the history of America has always been the black woman and the black church. Always. That's why both of y'all are under attack. They can blow up a black church, but they can't blow up a black whole house. They never blowed up a crack house, but they can burn the church down to the ground. And sister, one day when you understand who you are, one day, there ain't another woman alive that would let a baby come out of her belly and sing such filthy stuff about her as you let them little punks that you burn in that gangster rap. And he got nerve enough to go buy that filth and then idolize him. If they ever do one paragraph of that filth about a Jewish woman or Irish Catholic, they'll die that day. And then y'all want to sit around and say, well, all they're talking about is their experience. Well, when is the priest going to do a rap about ripping off the little boy's booty? When is the mafia going to do a thing about all of that? Why is we the only ones? And I listen to some of that filth you let your children sing. I love hillbilly records. I never thought I'd love a hillbilly record. Y'all need to go buy your hillbilly record. Listen to it. That white redneck cracker ain't never said nothing derogatory about his woman in his song. Huh? You listen to it. It's always he was doing wrong. When I listen to black men, I caught my baby in bed with my best friend. It's always you doing wrong. Listen to this hillbilly record. It's never her. It's always him. Not another man on this planet says the filthy stuff about his women. And y'all be dancing to that stuff. And at some point, that's got to stop. Some point. More black women was gunned down last year by police in this country than any other time. And I don't think it's a coincidence it happens on the back of gangster rap. And one day when you listen to that gangster rap, make like you're a white
that's living out straight. You ain't never seen a black woman, you just heard gangster rap. What am I supposed to think about you? Because I heard your man tell me that you need to be stomped underground and you need to be screwed this kind of way and that kind. I heard your man say that. And y'all sit and tolerate that filth. Tolerate it. Like you some insignificant wimp, like you don't have no power. But we need to come together one day and march on the record and say, oh, stop it right here. Nothing's going to break it. But you can do things you want to do. But we put such little value on black life. And that's what police brutality is about. Why do you think black cops we have by the thousands have never handcuffed a white? Why do you think black cops ain't never shot a white boy 41 times? You think it's because they're more spiritual than white cops? You think that they better trained? No, they got enough sense to know white folks ain't gonna tolerate it. And once we put this country on notice that never again are we gonna tolerate you gunning down our children, our mothers, our wives, our daughters, our husbands, it's not gonna stop until then. And then this white boy, he's so smart. You can't find nobody that know a black, that can tell you in the brutal days of Mississippi, you couldn't pay a redneck to mess with a black man's car because something come over us when you mess with our car. Why do you think a cop in New York ain't never shot a black person's car? Why do you think they never hit your car with their billy club? Because they know you tolerate them busting your little child upside the head or shooting your grandmother, but don't mess with your car. Is something wrong when I have more fear of my enemy than I have love for my children? So as I leave you tonight, I say to you, they just talking about AIDS at the UN yesterday. Oh, it's so horrible. What are they trifling black folks doing over there? The Washington Post, which I call the #1 paper in America, because out of Boston, 63% of all mortgage money in America come out of Boston banks. That's where the power is, not here, in Boston. And if any of y'all ever been to Boston, go there and hold your breath until you see a Rolls Royce. You won't see none. Because super rich people don't need them a little trifling nothing cars. That's just for folks that's insecure. 3 different days, headlines on the front page. AIDS and the African. AIDS and the African. Oh, what's wrong with them? Well, let me tell you something. My oldest daughter, when she was working on her doctorate at the London School of Economics, me and Hosea Williams had been halfway around the world. I said, hey, come here, let's go see this little chump daughter of mine. Spent a week with her, and God so blessed me, walking down the street one day, the front page of the LA Times, Monday, May the 11th, 1987, smallpox vaccine triggered AIDS virus in Africa. AIDS epidemic triggered by smallpox vaccine. Huh? And then they go on to talk about the AIDS epidemic may have been triggered by the mass inoculation campaign which was used under false pretense of eradicating smallpox. The World Health Organization, which masterminded. Huh? And so they got us running around believing that something trifling is happening over there, 2 million died, and we walking around instead of looking this punk in his face and say, whatever they got, you gave it to them just like you put smallpox in the Indian blanket, just like you injected my brother down in Tuskegee. You did it, and I'm not going to come to you ashamed. You the one need to apologize. So I leave you tonight, and I say to you, every now and then, he makes some mistakes. I want you to hear this date here, Saturday, October the 24th, 1987. What year? Now listen, save some time.
An estimated 1.5 million Americans have the AIDS virus, but that's based on a 20-year-old study. Now subtract 20 from 1987, and we wasn't supposed to have AIDS then. So I leave you and I tell you, take care of your body. There's something wrong with a group of people that make more money than any other black on the planet. Most white folks have more education hours than any black on the planet. Most white folks, but our death rate from disease and sicknesses, we black folks in America is less than 12% of America's population. As we sit here now, 87% of everybody in America on kidney dialysis machines are black folks. There's something wrong with that thing. Black men is less than 4% of America's population. But 83% of cancer, the prostate death is black men, and y'all don't see nothing wrong with that. So I leave you tonight and I say to you, take care of your body. Try being a vegetarian. You've tried everything else, it don't work. Black teenage boys in America have more asthma deaths in America in 1 year than all the asthma deaths on this planet put together. Why? Because Harvard, Yale, MIT haven't realized that asthma is a dehydration, and an asthma attack is your brain sending a message to squeeze the water out of the lungs. So most of the time, 6-foot glass of water would resend that message. There's two ways you die. It's called attack. An asthma attack, which is your lung, and a heart attack. And you've asked yourself, what did I do to make my heart attack me? What did I do? How am I so frightened to make my lungs attack me? And why little black boys have so much asthma death? Because they don't drink water. Drink Gatorade, lemonade, Kool-Aid, soda water. And all y'all that run around here smoking them reefers thinking about people come to me from all over the world to clean them out. I can clean you out in 18 hours. I don't care how long you've been on heroin or cocaine. Take me 6 months to get reefers out your body. Look here, I didn't come here to scare y'all out of nothing. You do whatever you want to do. At least just know you're doing it. I used to smoke 4 packs of cigarettes every day. I didn't know cigarettes cause cancer. Then I found out I quit. Take care of your body. How you spell live? L-I-V-E. If you put an R on it, you got what? Liver. It's the only thing in your body that sounds like liver. Take care of your liver and your kidneys. You can't take care of it reacting to racism. Because the first time you get all uptight, and I'm so sick and tired, you black people always tell me what y'all told white folks on the job. You see, every time you get uptight over a racist situation, get angry, you tear up your liver and kidneys, not the glands. You put all of that pressure, and your liver has to take the blood, the poison out the bloodstream. It can't do that while you putting all them negative vibrations down there. So what a lot of you black folks need to do that ain't going to do nothing, you need to go hire y'all some white folks. Pay them. And put them on the balcony and come and just cuss them out once a week. And that gives you all that frustration, take that pressure off your kidneys. Just cuss them out. And when y'all go to the doctor for 6 months and find out you ain't got no blood pressure, you should get in white folks a bonus. But just go by there and just call all kind of honky, big redneck, no good, cracker, honky, 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 honky. That's what for you to put it on your payroll to mean you're going to live longer. Instead of always want to come and tell me how upset you are. I don't want to hear it. Somewhere, I beg you take care of your body, get into physical fitness. Don't sit there and lay in that bed every day. It's time to go to work and then wonder what happened to your heart, wonder why you got all this pain. Get up out of bed in the morning and walk. 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 Y'all stay in bed. It's time to go to work. I'm telling you, just try it. Try for 1 week drinking 8 glasses of water a day. Just try it. Try it. And then try getting up 3 hours before time to go to work. And you know what happens? You get up 3 hours before time to go to work, just sitting around the house, melting out cool. You be so mellow and cool, you won't even go to work. After you do that 3 days in a row, you don't have to go to work. Let me leave you with this. They were spraying all over New York because they say 2 mosquitoes came in here from Africa. Y'all remember that? 2 mosquitoes came in from Africa. Now, Africa got one non-stop, the whole continent, one non-stop plane a week. How do mosquitoes know which one to get on? And if they didn't get on the non-stop, why didn't they get off at the first stop? And while we was watching them spray y'all here, they were spraying all over the country. That's what this flu thing is about. That's why people who even had the shot still end up with the flu. And you can beat it and drink a lot of water. That orange juice you drink, that orange juice, but you got to get fresh oranges. That orange juice you got, I got to Florida for the morning. They brought me a can of Libby's. That came in on the same plane I came in on. Take you some fresh garlic. You eat a lot of garlic. Just go down there and wipe all that stuff out. Garlic, golden seal. You don't have to be sick. And then get you some rest. Try to get you some rest. And when you get rest, turn the radio and television. I want to sleep all night long. Radio, television. Melatonin, the body produces it every night when you go to sleep, but you have to be in a dark room. If you got one light on in the room or got TV on, your body will never produce melatonin. Your brain will not produce it. It has to be pitch black. And all you folks that raise children with that little night light in the room, you did them a disservice because they never got no melatonin. And you women that didn't want to nurse your babies because it make you have flabby titties, you were right. You were right. You got them firm, look them in the eye tits. But the babies is flat. Let me leave you with these 2 thoughts. In Oklahoma, federal building was blown up. A white girl named Carol Howe. 90 days before the explosion, she was an undercover agent. The FBI alcohol in the back, and she went and told them the 7 folks that was going to do it at the exact day. And when it happened, she didn't know they was part of it, so she went to the press. They indicted her. And luckily, some good lawyers came in. She's not in jail tonight. I want you to hear this real good. The Washington Times, April the 22nd, 1998. Only paper ran this story, this little 4 inches. FBI pays mortgage on Nichols' home, Denver. The FBI made mortgage payments on Terry Nichols' home after he was arrested for the bombing of the Oklahoma. They're paying his mortgage right now. And it says a spokeswoman for the Justice Department said she did not know immediately why the government was paying the payment nor how much it was. They never denied they're paying it. All them explosions in the World Trade Building, those are the United States agents. That old blind movement guy, how you gonna come in my country without a passport or a visa and blind? And customs can't figure what you want to do. Just aim me towards the World Trade Building. You know how many of them Muslims work for the CIA? And they're going to whitewash everybody. Loudon, bin Loudon, been on the CIA's payroll ever since he been in the public eye. And you black folks run around thinking let me tell you something. They can take you out anytime you get ready. The CIA gave that punk thug $3 billion to put that whole resistance together in Afghanistan because that wasn't a war of liberation. Russia, America, and Britain was fighting for who was going to control the heroin, which is the biggest part of the heroin on this planet, come out that part of Afghanistan. And Bin Laden and the United States won. That's why 98% of the heroin in America and Britain comes from them thugs. And Bin Laden's daddy is the one that put Bush and his boys in the oil business. That's what that's about. And Bush, with his little stupid Texas governor, said he know he lived in a crack house with a sister for 2 years in Houston, Texas, and he know they're going to bring that out whenever they get ready. He know he got a baby by one and an abortion by another. He knows that. And I'm not about to be stupid enough to believe I know it, the New York Times don't know. And I never assumed he was going to run for president. He got $61 million. Y'all saw that, right? Have y'all forgot him and his brother ripped off a savings and loan for $61 million? All they doing is using this campaign to laundry that savings and loan money and clean it up. Money is not power. Education is not power. Information. And Bush, the reason they ran him out of the White House, Clarence Thomas, that white woman he married to, is Barbara Bush's niece. And she probably said, you told me you were going to take care of my sisters. And he had to listen because Barbara Bush is worth about $20 billion. George, this little chump change she got. She said, I don't know what he see with that funny white hair. He saw green hair. Have y'all forgot two things about the O.J. trial? Then Nicole Simpson's mother said she talked to her daughter at 11 o'clock. She said, how you know? I said, me and my husband, when we went to dinner that night, was an hour and a half from the house, and from the time we left, we couldn't have got back before 11. And they go and get Bell Telephone to trick the records. But there's one original record in Texas, and there's some folks I know got a lawsuit trying to force that out.